Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're as obsessed with DemonSlayer as I am, then you're in for a treat today because we're diving deep into episode 2 of the Mugen Train Arc, titled Deep Sleep. Oh man, this episode hits different. It's got that perfect mix of heart-pounding tension, those emotional gut punches that make you feel all the feels, and just enough mystery to keep you on the edge of your seat. I'm going to walk you through it like we're chatting over coffee, breaking down every little detail without ruining the ride for anyone who might be catching up. If you haven't seen episode 1 yet, go watch it first because this picks up right where that left off, with our heroes boarding that infamous train. All right, let's jump in. Grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's talk about why this episode is such a standout in the series. So, we open up right on the Mugen train, chugging along through the night like some ghostly beast slicing through the darkness. The animation here is just stunning, you know? The way the lights flicker inside the cars, casting these warm glows on the passengers. It's almost cozy at first, lulling you into this false sense of security. Tanjiro, our ever-optimistic slayer with that Hanafuda earring and his unyielding sense of smell, is sitting there with his crew. Zenitsu, the thunder-breathing scaredy cat who's always one scream away from a meltdown. Inosuke, the wild boar-headed brute who's all about charging headfirst into chaos. And of course, Nezuko, tucked safely in her box but always ready to pop out and steal hearts with her muffled mumbles. And then there's Kyojuro Rengoku, the flame Hashira himself, sitting across from them with that signature fiery hair and that intense, passionate stare that just screams, "I'm here to protect everyone." The episode kicks off with this light-hearted moment that's so DemonSlayer. They're all digging into these massive bento boxes that Rengoku bought for them. Tanjiro's eyes light up like it's the best meal he's had in ages, and he's chowing down with that pure joy he always brings to the simplest things. "Umai!" Rengoku keeps shouting with every bite. "Delicious!" And it's infectious, right? You can't help but smile as the whole group starts echoing him. Zenitsu's trying to act all cool, but you can see he's a bit overwhelmed by the portions, while Inosuke is just tearing into his like a beast, mask pushed up just enough to stuff his face. It's these little interactions that make the characters feel so real, so human. Nezuko's box is there too, and Tanjiro makes sure to save some for her. It's those brother-sister bonds that tug at your heartstrings every time. I mean, come on, in a world full of demons and danger, these moments of normalcy remind you what's at stake. But as they're eating, the conversation turns a bit more serious. Rengoku starts explaining more about the train's disappearances, how over 40 people have vanished in the past few months, and it's all tied to this demon lurking somewhere on board. His voice is so commanding, so full of that unshakable resolve, and you can feel the weight of his words settling over the group. Tanjiro nods along, his determination mirroring Rengoku's, while Zenitsu's starting to freak out a little, whining about how scary it all sounds. Inosuke, of course, is pumped. He's yelling about how he's going to take down the demon single-handedly, flexing those muscles under his boar hide. It's classic team dynamics, and it sets up this contrast between their camaraderie and the looming threat. The camera pans out to the train speeding through the countryside, and you get these eerie shots of the empty cars, passengers dozing off peacefully, unaware of what's coming. Now things start to shift as they finish their meal. Tanjiro suggests they split up to patrol the train. Rengoku takes one end, Tanjiro another, with Zenitsu and Inosuke pairing off. But Zenitsu's not having it. He's clinging to Tanjiro, begging not to be left with Inosuke, who's already charging ahead like a bull in a china shop. It's hilarious, honestly, the way Zenitsu's voice cracks as he pleads, and Inosuke is just grunting and laughing maniacally. They end up deciding to stick together more or less, but as they move through the cars, you notice the conductor coming around, punching tickets with this monotonous routine. There's something off about him, though. His eyes look glazed, almost empty, but at first it just seems like late-night fatigue. As they settle back in, the group starts feeling this overwhelming drowsiness. Tanjiro rubs his eyes, commenting how tired he suddenly is, and one by one they all slump over into sleep. The animation captures this so beautifully. The way their eyelids flutter, the soft breathing, the train's rhythmic clacking lulling them deeper. But here's where it gets intriguing. We cut to the roof of the train, and there's this shadowy figure perched up there, grinning wickedly. It's Enmu, the Lower Moon 1 demon, with his pale skin, those haunting eyes, and that creepy hand-mouth thing where he whispers incantations. He's muttering about dreams and sleep, his voice all silky and sinister, and you can tell he's the one pulling the strings here. The music swells with this ominous tone, building that suspense without giving too much away. Inside the train, we see these young kids, hired by Enmu, looking ragged and desperate, sneaking up to our sleeping heroes. They're tying these special ropes around their wrists, connecting themselves to the slayers. It's tense, watching these innocent-looking kids with their trembling hands, knowing they're part of something bigger. One girl hesitates, her face showing this mix of fear and resolve, but she goes through with it. And just like that, the scene transitions into the dream worlds. First, we dive into Tanjiro's dream. This one hits hard. It's so emotional, so bittersweet. He's back home in the mountains, surrounded by his family. His mom is there, smiling warmly as she cooks, his siblings running around playing, their laughter filling the air. Tanjiro's helping with chores, chopping wood, and there's Nezuko, human Nezuko, giggling and teasing him like old times. The colors are vibrant, the snow sparkling under the sun, and you can feel Tanjiro's heart swelling with joy. He's hugging them, tears in his eyes, whispering how much he's missed this. It's these moments that remind you of Tanjiro's tragedy, how he's lost so much, and seeing him in this perfect world, man, it pulls at your emotions. He runs through the forest, calling out to his family, and everything feels right, like the nightmare of demons never happened. Then we shift to Zenitsu's dream, and it's a total mood change, pure comedy gold mixed with that sweet, awkward romance. He's on this idyllic date with Nezuko, who's all dolled up and human again, holding his hand as they stroll through peach orchards. Zenitsu's in heaven, blushing and stammering, promising to protect her forever. They're picking fruits, laughing, and he even imagines himself as this heroic figure, sword in hand, fending off imaginary threats. But it's so over the top, with hearts floating around and that sparkly filter, you can't help but chuckle at how his subconscious turns everything into a love fest. Nezuko's portrayed as this perfect partner, nodding along to his rants, and it's endearing, showing Zenitsu's deep-down vulnerability and his crush that's been building since day one. Next up is Inosuke's dream, and oh boy, if you thought Zenitsu's was wild, this one's on another level. Inosuke sees himself as the ultimate boss of this cave-dwelling gang, with Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and even Nezuko as his pint-sized minions, literally shrunk down and following his orders. They're adventuring through these dark tunnels, fighting off beastly creatures, and Inosuke's leading the charge with his dual swords, yelling battle cries. The dream has this cartoonish, exaggerated style, with Inosuke's muscles comically huge and his boar mask even more ferocious. Tanjiro's renamed Panjiro or something silly, scurrying around like a loyal underling, and it's hilarious watching Inosuke's ego run rampant. But underneath the laughs, it reveals so much about his character, his need for dominance, his loneliness masked by bravado, and how he secretly values his friends, even if he twists them into subordinates in his mind. And then there's Rengoku's dream, which adds this layer of depth and emotion. He's back with his family, his stern father, who's a former Hashira, and his younger brother, Senjuro, who's looking up to him with admiration. They're training in the dojo, swords clashing, but there's this underlying tension. Rengoku's trying to prove himself, his flames burning bright, but his dad's dismissive, buried in his sake and newspapers. It's heartbreaking seeing Rengoku's unwavering positivity crack just a bit as he seeks approval. Senjuru's cheering him on, and there's a tender moment where Rengoku promises to make them proud. The dream captures the Hashira's inner world so poignantly, his passion for justice, his family burdens, and that fiery spirit that never dims. The animation here is top-notch, with the flames reflecting in their eyes, symbolizing his burning resolve. Back in reality, or at least the train, the kids tied to the slayers are now entering these dreams through some demonic magic. Each one slips into the subconscious landscape. The girl in Tanjiro's dream appears as a shadowy intruder in his family home. The boy in Zenitsu's sneaks through the orchards. Another navigates Inosuke's caves. And the last steps into Rengoku's dojo. They're searching for something specific. Enmu's instructed them to find and destroy these spiritual cores at the edge of the dreams, these glowing barriers that look like ethereal walls. It's creepy watching them creep around, avoiding detection, their faces pale with the weight of what they're doing. One kid hesitates in Tanjiro's dream, seeing the happy family and questioning if it's right, but desperation pushes them forward. As they probe deeper, the dreams start to glitch a bit. In Tanjiro's, he senses something off. His incredible sense of smell picks up an unfamiliar scent amid the familiar ones. He pauses mid-hug with his family, his expression shifting from bliss to confusion. The intruder hides, but Tanjiro's instincts kick in, and he starts investigating, calling out if anyone's there.